My name is Shauna Kaiser, and this is Angelica Risto, and we are from Community Christian School in Bradenton, Florida, and we will be performing an excerpt from Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen.
Many exciting events have occupied the Bennet family as of late, including a marriage and recent engagement among two of the Bennet sisters. However, when Elizabeth Bennet begins to develop personal feelings for a certain Mr. Darcy, a strange visit from his aunt, Lady Catherine de Bourgh, threatens to seek out Elizabeth's true intentions. The two strong-willed ladies courteously initiate the intense discussion as they walk about the Bennet's garden.
You can be at no loss, Miss Bennet, to understand the reason of my journey hither. Your own heart, your own conscience must tell you why I come.
Indeed, you are mistaken, madame. I have not been at all able to account for the honor of seeing you here.
Miss Bennet, you ought to know that I am not to be trifled with. But however insincere you may choose to be, you shall not find me so. For my character has ever been celebrated for its sincerity and frankness, and in a cause of such a moment as this, I shall certainly not depart from it. A report of a most alarming nature reached me only 2 days ago, for I was told that not only your sister was on the point of being most advantageously married, but that you, that Miss Elizabeth Bennet would, in all likelihood, be soon afterwards united to my nephew, Mr. Darcy. Though I know it must be a scandalous falsehood, though I would not injure him so much as to suppose the truth of it certain, I instantly set off this place, that I might make my sentiments known to you.
If you believed it impossible to be true, I wonder you took the trouble of coming so far. What could your ladyship propose by it?
At once to have such a report universally contradicted.
Your coming to Longbourn to visit me and my family will be rather a confirmation of it, if indeed such a report is in existence.
If? Do you then pretend to be ignorant of it? Has it not been industriously circulated by yourselves?
I never heard that it was.
And can you likewise declare there is no foundation for it?
I do not pretend to possess equal frankness with your ladyship. You may ask questions which I shall not choose to answer.
This is not to be borne. Miss Bennet, I insist on being satisfied. Has my nephew made you an offer of marriage?
Your ladyship has declared it to be impossible.
It must be so. It ought to be so. Well, he retains the use of his reason. But your arts and allurements may, in a moment of infatuation, have made him forget what he owes to himself and to all his family. You may have drawn him in.
If I have, I shall be the last person to confess it.
Miss Bennet, from their infancy, they have been intended for one another. It was the favorite wish of his mother as well as of hers. And now, at the moment when the wishes of both sisters would be accomplished, in their marriage, to be prevented by a young woman of inferior birth, of no importance in the world, and wholly unallied to the family. Are you lost to every feeling of propriety and delicacy? Have you not heard me say that from his earliest hours he was destined for his cousin?
Yes, and I have heard it before, but what is that to me? If there is no other objection to my marrying your nephew, I shall certainly not be kept from it. If Mr. Darcy is neither by honor nor inclination confined to his cousin, why is not he to make another choice? And if I am that choice, why may not I accept him?
Because honor, decorum, prudence, nay, interest forbid it. Yes, Miss Bennet, interest. For do not expect to be noticed by any of his family or friends if you choose to act against the inclinations of all. You will be censured, slighted, and despised by everyone connected with him. Your alliance will be a disgrace. Your name will never even be mentioned by any of us.
These are heavy misfortunes, but the wife of Mr. Darcy must have such extraordinary sources of happiness necessarily attached to her situation that she could, upon the whole, have no cause to repine.
Obstinate, headstrong girl! I am ashamed of you. Is this the gratitude for my attentions to you last spring? Is nothing due to me on that score? But just sit down, Miss Bennet. You ought to understand that I have not been used to submit to any person's whims. I am not in the habit of brooking disappointment.
That will make your ladyship's situation at present more pitiable, but it will have no effect on me.
I will not be interrupted. Hear me in silence. My daughter and my nephew were formed for each other. They are destined for each other by the very voice of each of their respective houses. And what is to divide them? The upstart pretensions of a young woman without family, fortunes, or connections. Is this to be endured? But it must not, certainly shall not be. If you are sensible for your own good, you would not wish to quit that sphere which you have been brought up.
In marrying your nephew, I shall not consider myself as quitting that sphere. He is a gentleman. I am a gentleman's daughter. So far, we are equal.
True. You are a gentleman's daughter. But who is your mother? Who are your uncles and aunts? Do not imagine me ignorant of their condition.
Whatever my connections may be, if your nephew does not object to them, they can be nothing to you.
Tell me once for all. Are you engaged to him?
I'm not.
Will you promise never enter into such an engagement?
I will make no promise of the kind.
Miss Bennet, I am shocked and astonished. I had hoped to find a more reasonable young woman, but do not deceive yourself into a belief that I shall ever recede. I shall not go away till you give me the assurance I require.
And certainly never shall give it. I am not to be intimidated into anything so unholy unreasonable. Your ladyship wants Mr. Darcy to marry your daughter. But would my giving you the wished-for promise make the marriage at all the more probable? Supposing him attached to me, would my refusing to accept his hand make him wish to bestow it on his cousin? You have widely mistaken my character if you think I can be worked on by such persuasions as these. How far your nephew might approve of your interference in his affairs, I cannot tell. But you certainly have no right to concern yourself in mine. I must beg, therefore, to be importuned no further on the subject.
Not so hasty, if you please. I have by no means done. I am no stranger to the particulars of your youngest sister's infamous elopement. Yes, Miss Bennet, I know it all. If the young man's marrying her was a patched-up business at the expense of your father and uncles. And is such a girl to be my nephew's sister? Is her husband, is the son of his late father Stuart, to be his brother? Of heaven enough. Of what are you thinking? The shades of Pemberley to be thus polluted.
You can now have nothing further to say. You have insulted me in every way possible. I must beg to return to the house.
You have no regard, then, for the honor and credit of my nephew?
Lady Catherine,
Feeling selfish girl.
I have nothing further to say. You know my sentiments.
You are resolved to have him?
I have said no such thing. I am only resolved to act in that manner which will, in my own opinion, constitute my happiness without reference to you or anyone so wholly unconnected with me.
It is well. You refuse, then, to oblige me. You refuse to obey the claims of duty, honor, and gratitude.
Neither duty, nor honor, nor gratitude have any possible claim on me in the present instance. No principle either would be violated by the marriage of Mr. Darcy. And with regard to the resentment of his family or the indignation of the world, if the former were excited by his marrying me, it would not give me one moment's concern, and the world in general would have too much sense to join in the scorn.
It is well. This is your opinion. This is your final resolve. Do not imagine, Miss Bennet, that your ambition will ever be gratified. I now know what to do. I came to try you. Do not expect for anything of your ambitions to ever be gratified. I take no leave of you, Miss Bennet. I give you no compliments to your mother. You deserve no such attention. I am most seriously displeased.